Hello and welcome back to the Money Bear podcast. This is your host, Chloe Daniels, better known as Clo Bare Money Coach on the internet. And guys, it's been a week. I feel like everything was just chaos in terms of like moving and settling into San Diego and getting a bajillion things for the apartment, and then dealing with a really nasty poison oak rash and like just kind of finding a new routine. And on top of it, too, I was on prednisone because of the poison oak rash. And I mean, it's pretty rare in my life that I've ever had to be on steroids. And it just kind of made me a little bit more wired than usual, which I liked, but also it made it impossible to focus on anything. So I'm feeling way better this week because the prednisone that I'm on, it's like a taper off. So it's like every day you take a little bit less. And we're on one pill today, and tomorrow it will only be a half pill, and then one more day of a half pill, and then I'm done. But I got a little bit of the like facial swelling going on as well, which I will be really excited when that is gone. So anyway, last week just felt like total chaos, and this week is feeling a little bit calmer. And I am really enjoying just getting into a routine. I am like such a Taurus, like in every way. So like in terms of the things that I think describe me best of like the woo-woo world or like the personality test or anything along those lines, I do feel like I'm a Taurus through and through. And I also feel like I am like the poster child for an Enneagram 3. I think I'm a relatively healthy Enneagram 3 these days, but for those who don't know what the Enneagram is, this like personality rating chart, whatever, that really measures how your internal world operates. And for me, my internal world, I have this base fear that if I am not achieving, if I'm not succeeding, I am worthless. And that's kind of the fear that, you know, it motivates me in everything that I do. But I've done the Myers-Briggs, I've done like strengths finders, I've done those sort of things. And I've never felt so called out as I did with the Enneagram. And I remember the first time I took it, I was like, of course I'm a 3, because it was the one when I was reading the descriptions that I was like, ew, I don't want to be that one. And I think that the title, they like gave like caricatures of each Enneagram, and the Enneagram title for the Enneagram 3 that I read was the performer. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to be performing. That sounds fake as fuck. And of course, I am indeed the performer. And now that I think about it, the performer is kind of a dual meaning in that, yes, I'm definitely a performer in that whatever situation I am put in, I can chameleon my way to be whoever I need to be in that moment, to fit in, to succeed, to achieve. But that is the other flip side of a performer, is that we perform. We are like achieving whatever performance we need. It's all about achieving the results that you need. And that is me to a T. Which now, with who I am these days at a more balanced and more aware stage in my life, it's okay. I have to like constantly be aware of it. And I think when I went on the road trip last year, that was one of the ways that I really learned and evolved as a person, was that I just had this realization that I did not have enough joy in my life, and that I was not making time for joy. And that's really changed. And I think that now I really do my best not to work on weekends. I got a cat. Like literally getting cash was an act of joy. Like the entire reason that I decided to adopt Cash and to go after getting a cat, even though anybody who looked at my life when I decided to adopt Cash would have been like, this doesn't make sense. This isn't the right time for you. Like, why would you adopt a cat right, like when you don't even know where you want to live? And I was like, because it will bring me joy, because I know I'll be able to figure it out, because like if I keep waiting, when am I ever going to do it? And so I just did it. And obviously he's wonderful. He's sleeping behind me if you're watching the video of this, and he's just a cutie pie. He's just a cutie pie, and he brings me so much joy. It's like, it's the littlest things that he does that just makes me happy throughout my day. And I mean, same with Logan. Logan obviously makes me happy all the time too, but having them together is just this magical experience of being able to find joy when they interact with each other, seeing all the ways that they like get to know each other and conform to their routines together. And it's a whole other level than when I was living at my parents', because obviously when I was there, Cash had like 3 other cats to play with all day. And so I only really saw him in our morning routine and our evening routine. And like, if he ever felt like coming to say hi, he'd like come say hi, but he was busy socializing. And now it's just 3 of us. It's me, Logan, and Cash. And so to see this closeness develop between him and Logan, it just fills my heart with so much joy. Like, we take little recess breaks and they get to go into the backyard here in my place in San Diego that's like totally fenced off, but there are a couple of holes, so like they have to be supervised for sure. And I just love seeing him like rub up against her or like come to her for comfort. And it's just it makes me indescribably happy. And even like Logan so Logan and Cash will both get the zoomies when they're outside, and sometimes one will get the zoomies before the other one or vice versa. And the other day Logan decided she was going to start chasing Cash. Like, she was very playful about it. It wasn't anything aggressive, but like Cash was like, what the fuck? And they just started zooming around the backyard, and it was the amount of joy that Logan was experiencing, and then the like run for his money that Cash was like being humbled because he's such an asshole sometimes. It was really fun to witness. And he's fine. He came back in, he was like, what the hell was that? Like, he's just like humbled. I would say my cat got humbled by my dog, but she's very good with him. She's never hurt him. She's been clumsy before, but yes, she's sleeping right next to me right now because she just got a bath. She's a stinky girl. Weekly baths are like becoming a thing for her because we go on hikes every week, and she's got like the type of fur that just gets oily so quickly. So she's got weekly baths. But the good thing about weekly baths is that she gets more and more desensitized to them. So it's really just not a big deal. And it takes like 5 minutes. So I guess that's my life update. I really just like dove in. This is the quick tip episode of the week, and we always start the quick tip episode with giving a life update. I'm trying to think if there's any other real life update other than, I've been dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety and excitement around my move to San Diego. As if you guys missed last week's episode, I announced that I have officially moved to San Diego. I went back and forth for so long. And then when I got to San Diego, I was like, yeah, I got to do this. I will die someday. And if I die and I didn't at least try to live here, I will be disappointed. And so I threw all the fears saying that you can't do this. It's not practical. You're going to be stressed. It's not going to improve your life. I threw that all to the side and was like, is this in line with who I want to be? Is this in line with what I see for myself? Is this in line with like my ideal life? And the answer is yes. Over and over again, the answer is yes. And I can already see it and feel it impacting my happiness, my mental health. Having a dope ass apartment certainly helps. And let me tell you guys, it is expensive. So when I first planned this trip out to San Diego, I booked a furnished finder, which is like a long-term Airbnb essentially. But it's an app that was founded for travel nurses to help people find furnished apartments. And I booked this place off of Furnished Finder, which I thought when I booked it, I was like, oh my God, what a steal. It's like 1,000 square feet. It looks like a Chicago apartment because it's like the old Craftsman, lots of woodwork and built-ins and just like an old building. It reminds me of my place that I had in Logan Square, and it's huge. Even though it's only a 1-bedroom, it's massive. Like the closet I have is the size of my first bedroom in Chicago, in my Chicago apartment. So anyway, I got here. I love the apartment. And as I continued looking on Zillow for like apartments in the area and apartments nearby, I just couldn't get over the idea that I really want to stay in Golden Hill. And it's hard to find an apartment of this size, as well as with like a good landlord and the price point. So I reached out to my landlord and was like, would you be open to me signing a year lease with you here. Like, I wouldn't leave, just stay. Like, I would love to stay here. And she was like, yeah, but the price is not going to be $2,650, which is what I paid for the first 3 months here. She's like, it's going to go up to $3,000. She's like, the only reason you got it for $2,650 is because the person who was here before had to like cancel their lease early. And so we were just trying to get somebody in. And I was like, done, sold. I don't care. Like, I love this place. 3,000 was really what I was expecting to pay. And it all worked out. And the place is furnished. So yes, it's not my like style. All the art is not art I would pick. All the furniture is not furniture that I would pick, but it's like good enough. And I have an Amazon list of like all the things that I want to buy to kind of alter some of it to be more my style, be my vibe. But like just the simple thing of like getting this rug that's behind me just makes the place feel so much more cozy. Getting plants in the house has just made it so much more cozy. And I am just seriously so excited to be here. And like, I feel so at peace. And I feel like I just keep having these signs that I've done the right thing. I've made the right decision. So I'm really happy. I feel really good. There is, like I said, a lot of anxiety and there's that like scarcity mindset coming forward. But I think it's just because like, this is so different. This is completely in or outside my comfort zone. I left the Midwest and I moved my ass to freaking Southern California. What? Even when I left on the road trip back in February 2022, I never thought that I was going to end up in Southern California. I was like, I can't afford it. It's not possible. That's not something that I could ever do. And here I am. So I think that the anxiety and my brain just being like, oh my God, what if your business fails? And what if your emergency fund, it gets depleted? And how are you going to pay for your estimated taxes? It's like everything inside of me is trying to keep me in my comfort zone and just be like, no, you can't do this. You can't, this is not safe. We don't know this. We are new. We don't fit in here. But I have to keep just reminding myself of like, Chloe, you are a freaking master at number one, making shit happen. Number two, this is in line with your dream life. Fucking do it. Like, you are here. You have signed the lease. We ball. We are doing this. And then thirdly, all these fears, they have not transpired. They are potentials and they are all solvable. So I think speaking the fears helps kind of make them less big and less overwhelming. But I will say it is a scary thing to pick up my life, move across the country where I really know very few people. And even the people I do know are like acquaintances who I'm slowly becoming better friends with, which is awesome. And to do it all by myself, like, it is scary, but I'm excited and I'm here for this kind of scary. I am here for what I have to do in order to live my dream life. Now, I have to like recognize that comes with unending amounts of privilege. Like, not everybody can be like, I'm going to go live my dream life and move across the country to San Diego. And I recognize that. But like, since I have that privilege, I should be grateful. I should be fucking taking advantage of it and trying it and not let fear dictate how I live my life. So here we are. We did it. We signed a lease. Anyway, I'm trying to think I thought there was something else I wanted to cover in today's money episode, but I can't remember off the top of my head. It might come out other than like Cash. I don't know if you guys have been following on my Instagram stories. Now that he has like experienced the great outdoors, he now thinks that he should be able to have unfettered access to the great outdoors. And the other day I was taking a nap and I had the windows open, which all the windows have screens. And when I woke up, Cash was gone. I'm laughing because he's obviously here now, but I walk outside. I'm obviously slowly starting to panic. And I walk outside. I'm like, I bet this bastard figured out how to get outside. Like, he like busted through one of these windows. And I walk outside and I'm like, Cash. And then all of a sudden he just goes, meow. He just like looks up and is like, hey, what's up, bitch? Where you been? I've been out here for 20 minutes. So it does give me some comfort to know that he probably wouldn't just like run away if he did I would be heartbroken. But because he's a sneaky link, I, number one, will not be opening the window that I know he escaped from. And number two, I ordered him a collar. He's going to hate it. But I got him like a little spiky collar, so he looks like a little badass. Eventually, once I'm not so stressed about money, I'm going to also get Logan like a matching spiky collar. And I think it's funny because they're both like, Cash is the least scary cat ever. He like just loves everybody. He's never aggressive at all. And Logan is literally like butter. She meets new people and she melts into their lap and she's squishy and she's loving and she licks everybody. Unless you're a mailman or like a UPS delivery guy, she will then turn feral. But when it comes to like, I bring her to CrossFit every day, she loves it. Guys, I'm just like, I'm living my best life out here. I love being able to take her to CrossFit. I love that I have already this built-in community in CrossFit. Like that makes me happy. I look forward to weekdays because I look forward to knowing that I get to go see people at CrossFit. And then I love that I get to spend weekends hiking and outdoors and doing stuff that makes my heart happy. I'm so freaking happy despite my fears around like these old fears around money and scarcity and all of that stuff. Like even as I'm telling you this stuff, I'm just like, I can't get over how happy I am. It feels good. I just have to like bask in this moment of happy. Like I feel really good. I'm really happy. So yeah, thanks for sharing this moment with me. Clearly, I wasn't planning on, I'll be full transparency. I don't really plan the quick episodes other than the tip. Like I know exactly what we're going to be talking about today for the quick tip. But when it comes to like the life updates, I'm always like, all right, what are we going to talk about? And then this is like my therapy session. I'm like looking at myself recording and I am giving myself a therapy session. And the way my body felt just then, as I realized how happy I am to be here, it's just like lightness. It's just like sparkly lightness, relief, and just like such a like bursting feeling in my chest that's like, you did it. You're here. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of you. And like, this is just the beginning. I get so many feels. I get so many feels. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I hope you guys don't mind the rambles, but let's head into this week's quick tip episode. So the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the fear around our finances, and specifically, and this can, to be fair, apply to everything. Obviously, it's been applying to me in terms of moving to San Diego, but the fear that then causes us not to act. So the reason that this came up is because on a coaching call last week with my lazy investors, I had a student who just finished the course comment and say, I'm not sure if this is really a question, but I just want to talk a little bit about mindset, because here I am, I finished the course. I have all this knowledge that I didn't have before. I know what I need to do. I know like the risks involved. I know how I want to approach this. And yet I still cannot bring myself to act. Still, I am waiting. I am, pushing this off. I am just not making any movement when it comes to actually doing what I know I need to do. And I think so many of us have that experience. So many of us, I think of simply opening a high yield savings account. How many of you have heard me talk about opening a high yield savings account and you haven't done it, right? How many of you? I'm like imagining a bunch of hands raising, because that's like the most common one. We know it's an easy win. We know it's like it takes 10 minutes to set up online. We know that if we're going to have savings, we might as well just put our money into a high yield savings account, and yet we don't do it. And then every single time when somebody finally does it, they're like, why didn't I do this sooner? Because it's so easy. It's such a quick win, especially with how interest rates are right now, that it's like, what held me back? And I think it's one, we have to recognize that's normal. There's a lot of things that we put off. There's a lot of things we procrastinate on, because it's not like we associate opening a high yield savings account or opening a brokerage account and picking some investments. It's not like that's like our idea of a good time. It's not a fun, exciting thing to look forward to. Two, we also have a lot of emotions and heaviness and anxiety around money, especially when we are new to managing our money. That is normal. Every single one of us. I always like to tell this story when I talk about like fear and inaction, about when I first learned about index fund investing, and I realized that my entire 401k portfolio was in actively managed mutual funds. I was like, all right, I need to go in there and see if I can pick some index funds, see if I can pick some better investments for me. And I knew that I had to do this for months and months. And I just put it off. I literally would have like this hour reserved on my calendar to do it. And I would just move it forward until eventually, I think it was like a holiday. It might've been like Memorial Day or something. I was like, okay, I am going to go in here and I am going to change my elections inside of my 401k. And so I sit down and I do it. I have this whole hour reserved for it. And I'm like, this is my one thing I'm going to do today. And it took me 10 minutes. And afterwards, I was like, well, now I have a whole 50 minutes where I can do whatever I want with the rest of my day. And I think that's what happens when we put something off and it becomes bigger and scarier in our mind. But in reality, that fear is not a real fear. It's not like it's a fear. The fear we have is real, but it's not a real scenario. That's not actually going to happen. And I think when it comes to investing, a lot of us, our fear is like, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to do it totally wrong. And then I'm going to lose all of my money. I'm going to pick the wrong thing. And then my dollar is going to go down to zero. And let me tell you guys, if you are picking mutual funds, ETFs, index funds, the type of stuff that I teach, you are not going to be at risk for your money going down to zero. You're not even going to be at risk for you losing like 80% in a day or 60% in a day. It's the entire stock market we're talking about. If your money goes in, let's say you put $500 in today and then tomorrow it goes down to zero, we are all fucked. There is a zombie apocalypse happening. There is unprecedented to the umpteenth times happening. And we are all going to have much bigger problems than our stock market. We're talking about the world is ending, the entire economic collapse. Like, it's not going to happen. I laugh because it's so improbable. And we may know that, but if you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you are investing in a way that makes sense for your risk preference and your time horizon and your situation, your goals, it's okay to have the fear, but you got to do it anyway, because I promise you, as soon as you start doing it and you put that money in and you automate it and you make it happen every month, that fear is going to go away. And you're going to have the same experience that you had with the high yield savings account, where you're like, holy shit, why didn't I do this sooner? Like, what was I waiting for? And sure, there are going to be ups and downs. That's why it's okay to start with a small amount. If the fear is keeping you back and you're like, girl, I got 10 grand that I'm putting into the stock market and I'm afraid to do it, so it's stopping me from doing it. Don't put 10 grand in. Put $500 a month in. Put $1,000 a month in. Put an amount that you are comfortable with to see, like, flexing that muscle of, okay, I did it. I put it into the market. The world did not end. I'm going to put a little bit more into the market. I'm going to keep doing it until that muscle gets stronger. So yeah, I think it's the longer we put it off, the bigger of an issue it becomes, even if that issue is not based in reality. So we have to ask ourselves, if we have the knowledge, if we know what we're doing, if we're picking investments according to our risk preference, our time horizon, our goals, the fear is illogical then. The fear is not based in reality. And that's okay. We're not going to shame you for your fear. It's okay. I have fear as well. But you got to do it anyway. You got to be like, all right, fear, I hear you. I'm going to act anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. I got all this information. I got all this data. And I know that what I'm doing is the right thing for me. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. Just think about it like with driving. Driving is scary, especially the first time you do it. But after you do it, it becomes less and less scary. And eventually you are driving and sometimes you zone out and you don't even realize you're doing it anymore because driving is so second nature to you. That is the reality with any scary thing that we do for the very first time. So that is my biggest piece of advice is first, you got to get the education. So if you do not have the education, if the fear is because you do not have the education, because you do not know what you are doing, then that is a fear based in logic. And that's okay. You should go out and get some more information. You should go out and learn some more about how to invest in the stock market. And this is where I will make my shameless plug for our free money guide. We have the Money Right Guide. The Get Your Money Right Guide, and that's available at moneyrightguide.com. It's got 30 pages of education inside of it, guys. So I'm talking videos, I am talking blog posts, I am talking cheat sheets, I am talking a ton of free content to get you started, okay? Then we also have our free investing class because I know that self-education on your own, the Googling is not always going to be as effective as sitting down and talking with somebody who has been there, who has been in your shoes and knows what you're doing. So we have that available every single month at lazyinvestingclass.com. So we've got both of those down in the show notes. So if you're like, Chloe, I'm actually not acting because I don't know what to do. Okay, that's a solvable problem. Let's get you the education that you need. Right? Let's do it. That's the next logical step. You know, you need to invest. You know, you need to be saving for your future. So then let's get you the education that you need in order to get started. But if you're like, I've done the free class, I have read through your guide, I have watched every single video, I have taken your course, Chloe, and I still have this fear of acting, then we have to ask ourselves, is that fear based in reality or is it in this situation and anxiety that does not exist yet? If that's the case, I encourage you to act anyway. Now, one more tip, because I know this quick tip episode is getting long. If you are feeling fear, if you are feeling stress, if it is causing you not to act in any area of your life, here is something you can do to kind of help navigate it. It's like a therapy technique for yourself that you can do on yourself. Take the word that is the trigger for you, whether it's money, whether it's investing, and I want you to like focus on that word, okay? Focus on that word, notice how it feels in your body, and then I want you to brain dump every thought that comes to mind about that word for the next like 5 minutes, okay? Set a timer, focus on that word, breathe in that word, understand that word, and then brain dump that shit out. Every single thought that comes into your head, put it onto paper, okay? Then when that 5 minutes is up, you're going to go through and you're going to start color coordinating these thoughts. You're going to highlight in one color, pick a color for good thoughts, helpful thoughts. You'll highlight all the helpful thoughts that you see. Then pick a color for neutral thoughts. So any neutral thought that you see showing up, highlight it in a different color. Then all the unhelpful or negative or not based in reality thoughts, highlight those in another color. Okay, so we can start to categorize things. First, you'll be able to see like, oh, just based off of these colors, a lot of my thoughts around money are neutral, or a lot of my thoughts around money are negative, or whatever it is. So you'll be able to see like, what is your general feelings around money? And then for all those unhelpful thoughts, pick like the 3 most powerful, the ones that really feel sticky and icky in your body and like make you just like go, ugh. I want you to rewrite them. So for example, if one of your negative thoughts around money is that rich people are bad, rich people are greedy, I want you to look at that thought and make it more true. Okay. And what I mean by that is we know that the blanket statement, rich people are bad, rich people are greedy, that's just not true. Like people are people. So how can we change that thought to be more true, to be more real? And so if we're looking at rich people are bad, well, Money does not make you a good or a bad person. It amplifies the kind of person you already are, whether that's a good person or whether that's a bad person. Work through those thoughts. Look at those thoughts. See, is this objectively true? Is this helpful? If the answer is no, how do we change this into a more helpful and a more true thought? Okay. And that's a good practice to do anytime you're facing fear or you're reaching a barrier that's not allowing you to take action. It's, well, what are the thoughts here that are preventing me from doing this? What are my beliefs that are not helping me on this journey? So I hope that helps, my friends. That's all I got for you today. I feel like this is a really long one, but I had a lot to say. So I appreciate you all. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you had any thoughts or questions by slipping into my DMs at Clo Bare Money Coach on the internet or at the Money Bear. I'm not as good at checking at the Money Bear, but I do my best. And yeah, if you made it this far, also, we need some reviews. It's been a while. I haven't gotten any new reviews lately. And I'm gonna shamelessly ask for some. Give us some ratings, give us some reviews. Those make my day. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Money Bear podcast. If you've made it this far, do us a favor, take 2 seconds, rate, review, and subscribe. It seriously means the world to me. And if you just take a sec to do that, I will appreciate you endlessly. And if you do, let me know on Instagram and I'll thank you personally. So got that. And of course, since we were talking about anything financial on this show, please note that nothing on this show is intended as financial advice. I don't know you, unfortunately, and because of that, I cannot tell you what to do with your money. You got to work with a financial professional who knows your situation, who is preferably a fiduciary, and keep in mind that everything that we talk about on this podcast is for education and entertainment purposes only. It's all my opinion. So there's that. If you want to see our full terms and conditions, head on over to the show notes. And while you're there, we've got free resources for you to get started on your money journey down in the show notes as well, including a free guide to help you with your budgeting templates and budgeting tutorials and investing 101, understanding the different accounts that are out there. All that good stuff is inside of my free guide, which is also available at thelazyinvestorscourse.com/guide. And if you're ready to take our relationship to the next level, I am also hosting a monthly investing class. And that investing class, you can find the times we're offering it this month at thelazyinvestorscourse.com/webinar. That link is in the show notes as well. And that's where you have the chance to meet me live and ask those money questions live. It's a good time. We've had over 20,000 people as of recording this join or register. And yeah, it's always nice to meet you guys. So I hope to see you there. Again, all that is available down in the show notes. So thank you again for coming and listening. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.